Hey there, fabulous agents. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. And I certainly wish that I were live with you. And yet I'm going to ask you to treat this video as if I am live and interact because this is an interaction today. This is not a dissertation. All right. My name is Hudson Warren, as I know your leadership has already shared, and I am super excited to be the bold coach that is coming your way this October. Now, a couple things you should know about me. The first thing probably is that I am still an active agent and I am doing what you're doing and I'm doing it now. I'm doing with all the changes and the market and the this and the that. Like I've been an agent since 2006. I am still in the trenches with you. I actively work with sellers and buyers. So I still do that. I also lead a expansion team called the HomeWise team, and we cover basically the west coast of Florida, everything from like an hour north of Tampa all the way down through Naples area. So we have a great network of agents. We're small and we're mighty, and we do, and I do what you do. All right. I'm also a former team leader. Be nice to your leadership. It's a crazy job. I am a MAPS coach, and my focus with MAPS is bold. And I will tell you a little bit more on why I focus on bold. Suffice to say, it's changed everything about my life for the better. And I'm very passionate about it. I believe that my highest and best use on this earth is 100% to help other people hit their goals, especially goals that maybe they don't believe they can hit, help them find strengths within themselves that they never knew were even there. Now, I'm also a coach at my market center. I do what we call achievement coaching. And basically, I take cappers and I help them turn into megas. So I do that as well. I'm part owner of a title company. I'm a real estate investor. I'm married and I'm a dad of six amazing children under the age of 14. My life is big and it's messy and it's crazy and it's loud, and I love it that way. And one other thing you might want to know about me because it might pique your interest is that even though I have those multiple full-time jobs, selling, running the team, being a coach at my market center as well, I do not work nights. I do not work weekends, with one or two exceptions a year, basically, because of course I'm not perfect, just like all of us. So if boundaries are something you'd like to have or have more of, if you'd like to have more control of your time and what you put in it, if you'd like to learn to be where your feet are, and that this is not, and you'd like people to not think that this is what you look like, I'm somebody that I can really help you with that. So let's get into it, right? My goal today is to bring value to you. I don't want to sit here and just say bold, take bold, like I will. And my goal is to bring value to you. So here's what I'd like to do. I believe that awareness is such a big gift. I think that when we get clarity on things, we can take great action. When we're floating through life not really knowing what's going on, which a lot of us do unintentionally, it's really hard to have direction, especially great direction. So we're going to do an exercise. It's going to be interactive. Like I said, we're going to do an exercise and I'm going to ask that you participate. I'm going to ask that you do not judge yourself and that you just be honest in this exercise. Um, when this team meeting is over, let's just say you've got a vacation plan and you get to the end of this team meeting and you're like, that guy was a lot. It starts now. And you got in your car and you just drove and you decided that you were going to a place that you've never been before. You were driving there and yet it was a place you've never been, hours away at the very least. Even if you're the most stubborn person in the room, is it you? Even if you're the most stubborn person in the room, here's what I know. You're going to put an address in your GPS. You're not going to wing it to go somewhere hours away that you've never been before. You're going to put an address in a GPS. Now, what is the first thing that your GPS, whatever kind you're using, has to do in order to get you to where you desire to go? I'm going to guess that at least one person did say the right answer because I feel like you're a smart group. And that's it's got to figure out where you are. It can't make the route without figuring out where you are. The exercise we're about to do, it's the same thing. So we don't need to get upset or even necessarily happy about the results. We just need to understand the results so that we can take great action. All right. So grab something you can write with, pen, paper, pencil, your phone, I don't care. Just find something that you can write with. And I'm going to ask you, you will see why art teacher is not one of my many jobs. I'm going to ask for you to draw three circles, and it's going to look something like this. They can intersect if you want, just kind of like an upside down blobby triangle. All right. So draw those three circles. And what I'm going to ask for you to do then is label the two top circles, business and life, just like you see here with my hieroglyphic writing. Business and life. So do that much. Three circles, one is business, one is life. The bottom one is blank for now. What I'm going to ask for you to do in a moment, and listen to the instructions before you jump in and choose an answer. We're going to look at your business first. So I'm going to ask you to rate your business as it sits literally currently right now today. Why am I being so specific? Not where you think it's going to be in a month because you got something great cooking, not where it was 6 months ago when everything was great. Like, where is your business right now? Truly, honestly, as it sits. And you may want to write this quote down. I'm going to share it because we like to make things prettier than they are sometimes. Honesty is the fertile soil with which we grow. Honesty is the fertile soil with which we grow. Okay. So just give an honest answer. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. They're more worried about their number anyway. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and you cannot pick 7 because there are way too many studies that prove 7 is a cop-out answer. It's when you don't really want to give the real one. All right. Scale of 1 to 10, no sevens, rate your business as it sits right now. You don't have to be happy or sad about it. Just do it. All right. Write that down. If you're still thinking, you're overthinking, what your gut told you that right answer. So write it down. All right. And then we're going to move over to that other circle that's labeled life. We're going to do the same thing there. All right. No sevens, and everything outside of real estate, your relationships, your health, your wealth, your mental well-being, like whatever, like everything else that matters to you outside of real estate, rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. And of course, 1 is the and 10 is the woo. All right, no sevens. So do that. Now, I am down in the lovely state of Florida. And one thing we're not known for is our school system being impeccable. And so I still believe, and you guys can check me, 10 times 10 is 100 all day long, right? Right. I'm assuming you all agreed. If not, we'll do some math when we get together for both. So take your two numbers and multiply them. Business times life. And whatever the number is that you get, write it in the lower circle. So if you had a 6 and a 5, that number would be 30. Okay, so whatever number it is, multiply the two, write it in that lower circle. Now, we had an opportunity to be anywhere from 1, because if you were at a 1 and a 1, 1 times 1 is 1, and you could be as high as 100. That was your opportunity from 1 to 100. 100 being everything is the most amazing it could possibly be, 1 being ruh-roh. So whatever number you just wrote down, that is where you're at today. Your life as a whole, that's kind of the level at which you're living it. Now, remember, we're doing this for awareness. None of these numbers are permanent. You, in fact, only you, have the power to change them at any given time. All right? That is where you're living right now. So I would ask you, and you can answer this out loud in the room or not, it doesn't matter to me. Um, do you like the number you wrote down? Some of you might. Some of you might have a really high number. Do you like the number? Do you feel it? And if the answer is no, I'm going to invite you to just drop your wall for a moment. Sit in that number for a minute. You know, almost everything great in my life came from a really ugly moment. It's okay to sit in the ugly sometimes. And then probably the most important question that I would ask you today is, do you want to change it? If you don't love it and you're feeling it and the feeling ain't great, do you like to change it? Would you like to change it? Because here's what's coming in October. You have a literal opportunity to do just that. If you've taken bold before or never taken bold, I want you just for a moment, just wipe your brain of it. Like, forget that you know anything about bold. Here's what bold is. And in fact, I'm going to ask you to write this down. Bold is opportunity. Bold is opportunity. It is a highly environmental experience where you are in a place with people and information and thinking that will help you go to whatever your next level is. And all of you have different next levels. It doesn't matter. Wherever that next place is that you would desire to be that might not happen without something different, bold is your gateway to that. It is a coaching experience. It is an accountability experience. There is training involved, and yet it's experiential training. So I'm sure you've all been to great classes, learned amazing things, had big aha moments, and then done nothing with it because you didn't put anything into practice. That's what's different around Bold. We have you actually get into the action so that you can change yourself. And Bold is mostly business focused, and yet it does way more than affect your business. It can change anything for you. Now, here's the great thing. Bold will also make you money. Like, I know that money is not the only thing that matters, and yet I have had some of it and none of it, and life is a lot easier with some of it. So it will make you money. The average agent who takes Bold is creating 11 new pieces of business that they would not have had otherwise. The things that we track that fall into that category are signed seller listings, signed buyer brokers, which if you weren't using them before, congratulations, it's the new world, and now we're using them, and under contracts, whether that is a buyer or a seller. All right. 8 of the 11 on average are under contracts, which to me is just those are upcoming paychecks, which I think are great. So, depending on what your average price is, we're talking about a 6-figure return from taking this experience. And then, of course, continued returns, because as long as you continue to implement what you learn, you'll continue to make more money that you wouldn't have made otherwise. So, here's my question for you. Should you be in the room? And here's why you should take this Bold. If your business is down year over year, because we can blame the market and all, and yet we don't have any control over that. So that's not a fair thing. It's not fair to you to let the market dictate your income. So if your business is down year over year, if you look at your 2024 goals and you're not on track to hit all of them, because to me, a goal is non-negotiable. If it was important to you when you set it, we should be achieving it, right? And there's always a way, and it's never too late. So if you're not on track for all of your goals, if your business is down year over year, if you're mentally down, some of us need to learn new skills because of the changes in the market and the changes in the way that we're doing business. Some of us need to brush up on the skills that we once had and have not used in a very long time. If any of those things apply to you, then you should be in the room. And here's the last thing that I'd like to share with you. And your team leader is going to share all about the location, the dates, all of that. If you have any date conflicts, don't let that determine that you're not going to go, because we have makeup sessions that are pre-recorded, so you don't have to miss anything. And yet they'll share all of that information with you. I find it really important to share with people why I coach Bold. Why am I coming to you in October? Because look, I've sat in the same seat that you're sitting in, and I know that a lot of us have the thought like, well, if this coach is so great at real estate, why aren't they just selling more houses? And I get that. So let me tell you a little bit about my Bold journey. I'll keep it as brief as possible, and yet it's not my strongest point. I got into the business in 2006. I lived in Southern California. The average price there is so high, and I had grown up there, knew a lot of people. Open houses were events there. I don't know how your market is. Down in Florida, they don't get so crazy. There, I mean, it was 25 people on a bad day. So if I just held some open houses and talked to the people that I already knew, I was always going to sell 10 to 20 houses. And that was a really strong income, especially for somebody. I was in my mid 20s when I got into the business. It was easy. And while I wouldn't say I was not a hard worker, I wasn't a purposeful worker. I never really treated it like a business. I didn't have systems. I didn't use a CRM. I just went and sold the houses and got the checks. That's what I did. And I was there for 8 years doing that. And when I got myself into a long distance relationship, those are fun. And I found myself moving at the very beginning of 2014 to Estero, Florida, which, if you don't know where Estero is, that's because it's a tiny little place with one exit off of 75. So I moved to Estero, Florida. I had nobody there except for the person I moved there for, who was also a real estate agent. So I wasn't getting their leads. And I had to start over. And really, what I realized later is that I got to start over. It was a gift because I learned to treat my business like one. And yet, in the moment, it didn't feel great. 9 months into being there, I had sold exactly 0 houses. I mean, talk about crushing it. 0 houses. I had spent all of the money I had ever saved. I had the relationship was also not good. So that I'd moved for a crappy reason, and it brought me all sorts of great stuff later. And yet it didn't feel good at that time. Bold was coming. I had never taken it before. And I said, you know what? This one credit card, there's 800 bucks a room on there. So I'm going to take the class because I'm certainly not going to go get a job. I'm not employable. I've been self-employed for almost 9 years at that point. So I registered for the Bold, and gave it to God. And I came alive in that room. That first bold was so transformational for me. And I went from selling 0 houses in the first 9, 10 months of the year to putting, I believe I put 12 under contract while I was in the room. And yet 7 of them closed before the new year. Those 7 houses, which sounds like nothing today, because we do more than that a month. Those 7 houses kept me in the business, kept me from going bankrupt, and I'm grateful for them. And I had an aha in the class. There were so many things about it that were great, and yet I realized early on, and I'm grateful that I did, that so much of my success and so much of the power of the experience was just being there. Like everything, all the material was amazing, and the coaches are amazing, and it was just being in the right environment, being around positive thinkers, being around action-based people, being around glass half full people. Like it changed everything for me. It unlocked things inside of me that I didn't really even know were there. So fast forward. So I decided I would keep going back. And I went 15 times in a 5 year span. And I know that sounds crazy to some people. Here's what that crazy did for me, though. I'd never sold more than 20 houses in California. I sold 7 houses in Florida in 2014. In 2017, I sold 111 of them. I, I don't even know who that guy is. I don't know how that happened. It just did, and it was amazing. By 2019, that was the year that I became a coach with MAPS, which was a really wonderful thing. It's been the greatest professional job I've ever had. Um, it's also the year I got married. It's also the first year I made 7 figures. And here's what I need you to hear with that. Like, whatever feelings you might attach to somebody sharing how much money they make, here's why I share with you that I made over $1 million in 2019. I don't come from any money, friends. We weren't like dirt poor, upper lower class. Like, I don't come from any money. I don't have a college degree. My, on paper, most people go through life letting their past dictate their future, whether they do it purposefully or not. I should not have what I have if we're just basing things off of what we were handed in life. Everything that I am grateful for came from that bold room. The multiple streams of income, a beautiful marriage, six. Never in my life did I think I could handle 6 children, let alone do it pretty well. Being able to do this and get paid to help people, it's such a beautiful thing, and all of it happened because I put myself in the right environment. So here's my call out to you. Now, your team leader will tell you their goal for how many people they're going to register for Bold today, because we don't need to wait for step one. It's silly. Like, let's just get committed now. Something's going to happen in your brain when you commit to taking this Bold experience today that will have you perform at a higher level from now until we start the class. It's a beautiful thing, it's a helpful thing, and it's wonderful. If you're sitting there, if you don't wake up every morning thinking, all right, like if you don't get out of bed with a great attitude, if you're hitting snooze left and right, if you should be going to bed happy and waking up happy most days, because of course life happens. If that's not you, I'm asking you to bet on yourself and come take this bold. The amount of change that you could create in your business, in your life in a short amount of time is monumental. And I've proven it so many times. I've had so many other people prove it. So it's time for you to take a bet on yourself. Stop worrying about the market. Stop worrying about your changes to the industry. Get into the right environment so that rather than just survive this time, we can thrive through it and create anything that we wanted. Now, your leadership's going to do the heavy lifting here. They're going to close you. And so I'll ask the question first. If you know that this is something that you should do, forget about, oh, I don't know if I want to, like, if you know that this is something you should do, stand up right now. Take a literal stand for yourself. Stand up. Your leadership will pass out a registration form. You're going to fill it out. You're going to not worry about the Keller Williams ID number because they're going to look at like it's all good. Just take the action. All right. And the last thing I'll share with you, because I trust that you're standing, those of you that sign up today, here's what you should know right out of the gate about me. The minute that credit card gets swiped, I am your coach for life. So if you would like to connect before this Bold, they've got all my contact information. Get it from them, reach out, I will make time. If you need things between classes, I got you covered. We're all good. And after Bold, guess what? I don't change my phone number after every Bold. Like, I am here. I will meet you wherever you are, and I will do everything that I can. You got to bring a lot. And I will do everything that I can to help you get to exactly where you desire to be. And I will help you get there on the quickest path with the least resistance. All right. Last thing, I already said that. One last thing, and then I promise I'm done. If you've taken Bold multiple times, Bold is currently being rewritten by Gary Keller himself. You know that guy. Uh, so you are going to be getting new content. So if you're thinking, oh, it's really good, and I've taken it so many times, I've heard the material, we are getting a rewrite from Gary himself. So stand up, fill the form out. You're not allowed to leave without handing it back to your leadership. In fact, they're going to go to the doors and they're going to be enforcers. All right. Have an amazing day. Reach out to me with any questions that you have. I cannot wait to meet you in person, and go be bold for the rest of the day.